It all started a few weeks after I moved into my new apartment. I had just signed a lease on a surprisingly affordable one-bedroom unit in a quiet part of the city. It was older, but it had character. Tall ceilings, creaky wooden floors, and thick walls that seemed to swallow sound. That's when I heard it. A hollow sound, different from the usual solid thud. Curious, I tapped the wall again. Hollow. I ran my hand across the surface, and there it was, a faint seam I hadn't noticed before. I hesitated. Largy told me to call my landlord, but curiosity got the better of me. I stepped inside. I was thrilled to finally have a place to myself. One rainy evening, while rearranging furniture in my living room, I bumped my bookshelf against the wall. On the desk was an old diary, its leather cover cracked with age. Everything looked untouched, like someone had just stepped out for a moment, maybe years ago. My heart started racing. Was it a utility access panel? A boarded-up fireplace? The hallway was barely wide enough to walk through, and the wallpaper, which looked decades old, was peeling in long strips. Nothing. The door was still open, but the hallway beyond looked darker than before. I don't remember closing it behind me, but maybe I had. I walked slowly, my footsteps muffled on the old wooden floorboards. It was cramped and damp. Hanging from the ceiling were dozens of empty picture frames, swaying slightly, and on the far wall, scrawled in what looked like charcoal, was a single word: help. I grabbed a flashlight and began inspecting the wall closely. I opened it and found a narrow staircase leading downward. The air felt lighter, warmer, but the fear lingered. When they arrived, I showed them the panel, but behind it was nothing, just solid wall. No hallway, no room, nothing. The air was colder now. Every part of me screamed to stop, but I kept going. But every night since then, I hear faint footsteps behind my bedroom wall, sometimes soft whispers, and occasionally I wake up to find the diary open, turned to the last page. With some gentle pressure, a hidden panel gave way with a low creak. Behind it was a narrow, dark hallway. At first, I thought it must lead to an old storage room or an unused part of the building, but it didn't match the floor plan. With a shaky breath, I turned the knob and pushed it open. I spun around, flashlight shaking in my hand, and caught the briefest glimpse of a figure slipping out of sight into the shadows. No matter how hard I pushed, it wouldn't budge. I started to panic. I ran, up the stairs, through the room, back into the hallway. The air was thick and stale. Dust danced in the beam of my flashlight. The entries were dated in the 1960s. The writing was shaky, and as I read, a chill crept over me. The author, a woman named Lila, wrote about being locked in the room. She said her husband believed she was mentally ill and confined her there for her own safety. The entries grew more frantic, more paranoid. She claimed someone else was in the walls, someone watching her, someone whispering her name. After about 20 feet, I came to a door. It was old, painted a pale green, and had a strange iron handle. Inside was a room, a perfectly preserved bedroom. The furniture was antique, covered in thick dust. A small bed was neatly made with faded sheets. I opened the diary, then the entries stopped. I felt a cold draft brush the back of my neck. I turned around quickly, shining the flashlight across the room. I should have left right then, but something kept me rooted there. In the corner of the room, I saw a small trapdoor beneath a rug. The latch was rusty but still worked. At the bottom of the stairs was a stone basement I never knew existed. That's when I heard the whisper. It wasn't loud, just a soft breath near my ear. But when I reached the entrance, the panel was closed. Then, just as suddenly, it gave way, and I stumbled into my apartment. I called the police. They thought I imagined it. Maybe stress, maybe exhaustion. But I still have the diary. The next day, I returned to where the panel had been. Still solid. There's now a new entry, in fresh ink. It reads, "You found me," and under that, my name.